Hello, good people, and welcome back to Unit 7 on consumerism. In our previous videos, we have talked about value of money. Gosh, my nose is itchy. So sorry. It's a bad way to start a video, but here we are. And the last one we talked about was social media and materialism. And now we're going to talk about the impacts on consumers. All right? Also, just please like this meme. Basically, he's asking you, wait till I get my money right. Funny. I thought it was funny. Laugh because it's funny. All right, so how do reviews impact consumers? We talked about reviews and how a well-placed review can either seriously help or seriously hurt a business in our last video. But now let's talk about it a little more in depth. So as far as videos go, you can be like, well, here's an honest review of this product. Here's an honest review of this company. And a lot of times, if you just go ahead and say, I'm going to make an honest review of this, a lot of times, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So if you're loud and fussing and I don't like this company because X, Y, and Z, I had a bad time, 9 times out of 10, if you put them on blast like that online, they're going to reach out to you and be like, we're so sorry, can we help you? And be like, no, I've been trying to get up with y'all for 6 months. What are you saying? So a lot of times that can impact a consumer, and that can lead to a good resolution to any problems that you might have with a good or a service. You can leave a review on Yelp if you want to, on TripAdvisor, that sort of thing. There were a lot of people. I was talking to this lady who owns a restaurant down at Holden Beach, North Carolina, and there was a 2-hour wait. Me and my parents got there really early to eat dinner at the beach because we know that she has a long wait time. We're talking you can show up to the restaurant at 6 o'clock and they have a 2-hour wait list. You're not going to sit down to a table until 8, so you might as well just get comfortable. So we got to the restaurant at 5 o'clock. We didn't have to wait at all. And we asked her at the end of our meal before we were leaving, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Because we're friends with her in real life. And she was like, yeah, I'm just going to have a lot of people leave me bad reviews on TripAdvisor because they had to wait so long. Well, you're going to have a long wait, so why don't you just plan for that? But anywho, there's that. So leaving reviews on Yelp or TripAdvisor or something like that can either seriously help or seriously hurt a business, but you got to take them with a grain of salt. So if you read a review and you're like, this restaurant was terrible, it did not have X, Y, or Z, and that restaurant was not supposed to have X, Y, or Z, then, what's the deal? So you got to take it with a grain of salt. You also have to be wary of people who do sponsored reviews or do sponsored videos. If this person, especially if we're talking buying a product for your house or something, or a couch or a rug. I was trying to buy a couch the other day, and I was looking at reviews online for this couch because I can't go. It's in an online source, so I can't go physically see it or sit on it and see if it's comfortable, And I'm not trying to have an uncomfortable couch in my house forever and ever. So I was looking at a review, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm sponsored by Wayfair." Why in the world, if you are paid by Wayfair to write a review, why would you write a negative one? They're not going to pay you if you write a negative one. So you have to be mindful of people who have sponsored reviews because they're not going to be totally honest because ultimately they're worried about their money rather than whether or not this product is legit. Okay, so again, a positive or negative review from a very powerful person can put you in a bad way if you are a business or a brand. So for example, here recently, I want to say it was Gucci put out, let's see, let's go check, let's go research. All right, so Gucci blackface. Gucci was selling a blackface sweater for $890. Look at this. That is not okay. That is not okay, Gucci. All right, they were also selling this little keychain along with it. No, thank you. Okay, so Gucci's out here selling this, an $890 sweater that is blackface. That is not okay. And so T.I. went and popped off on Gucci online and was like, absolutely not. This is not acceptable to the black community. We will not be buying Gucci anymore, that sort of thing. So a well-placed review from a powerful person or a set of powerful people or just a community in general could really help you out. Okay, that can help or hurt that business based on whatever the issue is. This can also be heavily based on trends. So if you're like, this is the cutest couch ever, it's so comfortable, and then 2 months later you're like, that ain't comfy no more. It was just trendy and I was just caught up in the moment. All right, so you need to be wary of that when purchasing a good or service. All right, so for that video, that was a guy in London who realized that you could make fake reviews on TripAdvisor. He got paid to make fake reviews on TripAdvisor, and then he was like, I wonder if he could make a fake restaurant. He went and got like a trap phone at the corner store, real talk, and he decided, I'll link this video in the bottom of your lesson so you can see it. He made a fake restaurant out of his apartment, made a fake menu, and served people frozen food, and then like pretended it was by appointment only, so you couldn't just like show up randomly to his apartment and be like, oh no, this isn't a restaurant. And he got to the #1 restaurant in London, and no one had ever eaten there, no one had ever been there, and he faked the entire thing. All right, so just be mindful of that. So again, how can outside factors impact consumers? Panic buying is a real thing. When people prep for a hurricane down here in eastern North Carolina, if we, Lord forbid, there's a chance of snow, all right, all the bread and milk and probably some alcoholic beverages are all gone. If people in the Midwest are prepping for tornado season, they get supplies ready to go. Here lately with COVID, we had a shortage of toilet paper because people decided to panic buy 17,000 rolls of toilet paper. Ridiculous, okay? Demand is significantly increased, but supply doesn't change, and so the supply gets skewed. People are like, why do we have to wait for 3 months on toilet paper? Well, Karen, because you bought 30 pounds of it when you should have only just bought 2 rolls, okay? It's like we see this a lot in the store when like all the water is gone, especially with the like hurricanes and stuff like that, or like bread and milk is gone as well. All right, and then seasonal shopping also impacts consumers. So as far as summer and winter clothing go, people have like a whole bunch of like swimsuits and stuff for sale. They have like winter coats, winter gloves, and hats and scarves and stuff for sale. And if they make too many of them, if a company produces too much, they end up with a surplus and they have to cut the price down in order to sell it and get it out the door. But when it first comes out, they can decide to mark it up so that they can create a shortage and like, oh, we're out of these like fancy coats and like increased demand for that, then they can either raise or lower the price to compensate. All right. There are also ads that are centered around holidays. You're going to see a lot of resort ads for like sandals and beaches and Grand Caymans and like Atlantis Resort or whatever in the summer. You're going to see a lot of stuff for cars, for clothing, for diamonds, over like the Christmas and winter holidays, because they track patterns in consumer spending. If you know people are going to be balling out on Black Friday or balling out before Christmas, you're going to advertise around that time if you're a business because you're trying to get more money. All right. So for different companies, like the Lexus December to Remember sales event has had the same jingle since like 2002. Coca-Cola has their little like their little polar bear commercials. They have a polar bear commercial that's new every single year, and they're always out here with like random polar bears in the North Pole drinking Coca-Cola. That's how it is. So they use like recurring ads to be like, oh, I remember this. Like you probably have heard the Lexus jingle before. I'll link that video down below so you can see it as well. And for societal expectations, we also expect other people to have specific things. You don't think we do, but we do, all right? Like we expect everybody to have a phone. We expect everybody to have like good internet access. We expect everybody to have like name brand, this, that, and the third. It's just a mess. So what brands do we expect them to buy? What's changed over time? Something for you to consider. Like 2000s trends versus today are completely different because like the times have changed. What materials or possessions equate to success for us? Like for example, when I was in elementary school, we had green and purple ketchup. If you're like, nuh-uh. Yes, there was. There was green and purple ketchup. They were in packets and they were in our cafeteria, and we could choose if we wanted green or purple ketchup on our fries in elementary school. Now, there are all kinds of terrible things in that ketchup because ketchup ain't meant to be purple. It's from tomatoes that are red. So how in the world did you get a red tomato to be green? I don't want to know. All right? So, or like silly bands. What in the world was the point of silly bands? They are literally just pieces of rubber that look like other things. But we thought they were like the best thing ever. We would trade them with other people. It was a big deal. Okay, or like Polly Pockets, or these like little carpets that you saw, or like all of these VCRs over Lord help, VHSs over here. All right, if you like had whatever on tape, like if you had a whole bunch of movies at your house and these like big boxes, you knew you were like killing it. You knew you were like up there in society. So we expect a lot of things from one another. And then, how can the government impact consumers? Well, they have economic policies. There are two types: fiscal and monetary. So the government can look and be like, listen, we got to get people to start buying X, Y, and Z. We got to have people stop spending money because of X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. You get manipulated as a consumer by the United States government in order to protect the economy and how it's functioning. Okay, fiscal policies made by Congress and monetary policies made by the Fed, and we'll dig into that in some later units. So some examples here. Congress, along with the president, when President Obama was in office, like late 2008, early 2009, had the Cash for Clunkers program. Well, not late 2008. He didn't get elected until November. So probably maybe January or February, after the housing market crashed our economy, like a little baby crash, had the Cash for Clunkers program. So they would give you like $5,000 on top of the value of your car in order to trade your car in and buy a new one, because we were in a recession. All right, or like a price floor for milk, so like a minimum amount of money that you can pay for milk, or a max that you can pay for a gallon of gas. Monetary policy by the Fed is lowering interest rates to promote homeownership. So if you have to pay low amounts of interest, you're like, oh, I can afford this house, let's do it. All right, so you print more money for circulation, but not too much, because we know hyperinflation is a thing. They change the vault requirements, so how much of a percent of all of the accounts in that bank have to be in the vault at one time. We'll dig into that in some later units. Don't stress about that. I survived. Cash for Clunkers. All right, so we'll scoot over to taxes. They have political pressure to raise or lower taxes based on like party agendas. So the Republican Party wants to lower them. Democratic Party typically wants to raise them. George H.W. Bush only got elected to one term because he said, mark my words, no new tax. Or no, he said, he said, read my lips, no new taxes. And then what he had to do? Raise taxes. Okay, and then he didn't get elected again. So there's that. Remember, we have a marginal taxation system. So we have to decide, are we going to tax a bigger portion of the population or a bigger amount? And there he is, saying the things that bit him in the tail. And the last one we'll talk about is stimulus programs. So the New Deal was post-Great Depression. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or FDR, signed that to pull us out of 100% economic freefall. The omnibus stimulus was passed in 2009 as a result of the recession. Obama signed that. The CARES Act was passed in March of 2020, post-COVID, and Trump signed this to boost the economy. The CARES Act was the largest monetary act that Congress has ever passed in American history. It was $2 trillion. All right, so there we go.